Now we got ourselves a game. You and me. You and me. Now we got ourselves a real game.
Cái chân nó.
Mấy ngàn.
Cầm xuống mau.
Rồi nha. Giang ra.
Im.
Yes. What's happening? Peace and blessings, y'all. Yes. What's going on? Yes, it's Saturday night. Not Saturday Night Live, but Saturday Night Podcast with with your very own Yaze and
I'm Mel.
That's true. It's me and Mel, and it's Woke with Kids, and it is the eve before Mother's Day, a very serious, auspicious moment. A period, an observance, I should say. A holiday like no other because we all have a mother.
No.
No? We don't all have mothers? Somebody didn't give birth to all of us?
Well, of course, but some mothers have died.
I don't mean. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean that we all have mothers living with us in the flesh. I mean that we all had mothers that we can remember, or somebody that gave us the role of a mother, even if you were adopted, as my mother was, as my father was.
Someone who nurtured you.
Somebody that nurtured you. Somebody that because motherhood is not merely of the flesh. It's not just something that's passed on through inheritance because. Everybody that birthed you ain't the one that saw you through. Anyways, but Mother's Day is a special day where we all recognize those good mothers in our lives, and like Mel, who's a really great mom, and I like Mother's Day. It's always a stark contrast, I think, to the daring to do a Father's Day, but I don't want to make it about me. It's 8 minutes until Mother's Day, and I'm just waiting to count down until I can tell Mel Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. I was like most men, I won't say most men. God, I hate generalizations. But I'll speak for myself. I definitely waited to the last minute to get something for Mel, but it was only because I agonized over this decision so much. I find it so difficult to buy you gifts. Mel, can you imagine why? Am I overthinking
it?
Well, that could be the reason. That's good feedback.
There's a good heart there, but I don't know. I don't think you really know what I like. Is that rude to say?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think that is highly accurate. In fact, I think when you asked me what I got you for Mother's Day, I said, well, I'm obviously going to go talk to some people who I trust with better taste than me, who understand perhaps what you may like based on some of the stores that you go to. And this is what I do every year. And every year, it seems to work out okay. So if that's not romantic, I don't know. I feel like
what?
It's my version of romance.
How is that romantic? Talking to a stranger about someone they've never met.
Well, no, I don't think that's not how I would characterize it, obviously. I would frame it as me having the presence of mind and the consideration to not just want to satisfy my obligation to get you a present, which would just be getting you any old thing, right? But also to find something that I hope you would like. And
so glad you threw the obligation part into the conversation.
But also having self-clarity and self-awareness to be like, okay, I know that I don't necessarily know what you like, but I do know that there are people at the stores that you go to who may know what you like that can recommend things to me that you would like better than if I just went in there and chose blindly. And I think that this is actually me being a progressive male in this particular instance. Dear. Let me tell you why. Because I feel like the traditional male stance on this is kind of like it's like a metaphor of you're on a car trip in the old days when the man is driving or whatever, and the old story, the trope is the wife goes, let's look at the map. I think that we're lost. And the guy says, I don't need no map to get anywhere, right? I'm the guy that's saying, I need a map. I need Google. I need some help. I need to talk to some people, not strangers, but experts, consultants, people that have an understanding and a feel for these things. Because I don't understand many of the things which animate the interests of people outside of me. I won't even say I don't understand women. I don't understand people. People are a complete mystery to me for the most part, except for their foibles and mischiefs. But I want you to be happy, and so I go to talk to the experts of happiness to buy you the things that I hope will bring you happiness.
Oh my God.
This is my hope. Hey guys,
this
it's
is
Woke
too
Kids.
much. I can't even address this without hurting feelings. So,
well, I'm pretty tough.
causing an argument,
Well, I definitely don't want
which
that.
is not what this podcast is about.
Well, not for a long time. We don't.
So,
Okay,
let's move on. If you're done praising yourself.
Well, yes, I'm done praising myself.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, if Mother's Day is not a source of pain for you, then I hope you have a good one. And for those of you who it brings up painful memories, I hope you find peace tomorrow with loved ones.
Amen. All right. What do we segue in? How do we segue from Mother's Day into something? What's been going on in the world?
Well, we're so far behind. Okay, let's start with a mother. Let's start with Cardi B. She's 5 months pregnant.
Yes,
And she was bullied off Instagram over the weekend.
That's pretty accurate.
And I didn't listen or watch. I don't watch The Breakfast Club. But the summary.
I listened to some of it.
The summary is Miss Azaelia Banks decided to say that she used to like Cardi B, and of course, there's that viral video of her going ham on the song, singing the song in the club. But she feels that Cardi B is just perpetuating a black stereotype of not having good communication skills, bad grammar, being ghetto, being ratchet, and that is being celebrated by the media. And that's as far as I got. Oh, and then was there a piece about basically she's claiming blackness because it's profitable for her, even though she's Latina. And then there was that I saw pieces of that argument.
That is that is interesting.
There are people who feel that she is playing up the Afro part of her Afro-Latina heritage and culture. And I don't really, that's
whatever
a whole
that
other
means.
conversation.
What is that playing up even?
Like, she's just saying, she's basically just says she's black. She's not specifically always saying I'm Afro-Latina the way Amara La Negra is. I think would be an example by contrast.
Okay.
She's very clearly also a darker skinned Dominicana.
Okay.
And her whole thing is very much, I'm black, I speak Spanish, I'm Latina, I'm Afro-Latina. Am I correct in that her brand is
I would say
very
so.
heavily, I'm Afro-Latina, she wears a big fro.
Yeah.
Cardi B, by contrast, is light-skinned, and
I think of Cardi B generally as being black. I know that she is Latinx, but I generally think of her being black. I don't necessarily associate her.
I just knew her from Instagram and the song. I didn't watch her on Love and Hip Hop, so it's like, I don't know if Azaelia is really one to say, okay, she went her whole adolescence and into adulthood pre-Bodak Yellow saying, I'm Latinx, and now she's like, I'm black. Is that what she is?
I think
asserting.
Well, I don't know. First of all, I think I got to take a step back and we got to talk a little bit about who Azaelia Banks is. Because what I'm saying, she is a polarizing figure, and she is known for having very strong opinions about very specific things. Very strangely,
the only time I've heard her name in the last 5 years is when she's talking shit about another black rapper or female artist. Black female artist.
Yeah.
So I think the other side is like, bitch, shut the fuck up, because the only thing you seem to do is is to talk shit about other black female artists to somehow say you're better than, which always just comes off as hateration because she's not successful.
Well, I think
in her rap career.
Yeah, I think
for years she had some hits or whatnot, and people feel she's a good rapper and this and that. But
it's funny you mentioned that because I did listen to some of the Breakfast Club, at least the podcast version of it, and she was very sensitive when they brought up things like that, like even the insinuation, like DJ Envy and Charlamagne would bring up, even insinuation that maybe some people thought that she wasn't as successful as she could have been because of some of her personal...
What was her response to that?
Oh, she was like, well, that's what I'm talking about. People don't get the wrong opinion. Everyone loves me. Everyone in the industry thinks I'm dope. I got mad fans. Like, I'm out here. And basically, her perspective is like, I'm out here winning, and y'all just fake news. Which is an interesting thing, which is what I want to bring up, because it's funny you mentioned the whole thing about the hating on black rappers, is because I think that there's definitely some dog whistle in that critique of a Cardi B, that she's out there perpetuating the image of, can't speak, or I don't know exact language or whatever, because I didn't actually listen to that long in the interview. She's not that interesting a person or a speaker to me. She's too brittle. Like, I don't listen to people who are that thin skinned, but it does sound like something she would say, and I think it's kind of like she's a hotep, essentially. I think she's anti-black. She hates the fact that her blackness is in what she thinks is the thing that's holding her back, when it's actually just like less talent and less ability to connect with fans.
I think it's her less able to navigate mainstream music industry. Maybe fans do love her, but she's not rich. She's not getting sponsorships. She ain't get invited to the Met. She's not on shows. She's not, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So there is all that. And then there's people who are like, well, what she's saying is not wrong. Okay. And then some people are like, okay, the message is right, but the messenger is wrong. And then there's just all these like nuance of the nuances, and there's so much there to unpack. Like, is there a proper messenger for the right message? Is this the way she should talk about it? Is it just her abrasive demeanor that made it seem harsh?
Right.
Is it the fact also that Cardi B has never really pretended to be otherwise, so it's not a marketing, and that this is her, and are we here to... Is that your job, to shame her? Is it also your job to, knowing she's 24, she's new to the game, and she's 5 months pregnant, really that... And so she's not even saying the music's bad. She's essentially attacking this person's character.
Cardi B is 24?
Yes.
Wow. She's a baby.
A 5-month pregnant baby who is new to this. So is that appropriate? For Azaelia, you know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't matter? Is that not something we consideration? So again, to me, it's like, okay, even if you have a valid point, the way to make it is to personally attack this young person who does not really have as much experience in this industry, and she's pregnant. So it's not like she's not going to be sensitive to a personal attack, regardless.
Well, it really. I think it just speaks to troll culture. It speaks to the fact that we are fully immersed. We are fully in the grips of a troll culture. You know what I mean? Like, it is now perfectly acceptable, because I guess what I'm saying is, like, I have to question how much of it that I believe that she believes. How much of, when people say these incredibly incendiary things, and then she also wants to be like, these people got the wrong opinion of me. They get
that's always where the disconnect is to me. I'm like, so how are we getting the wrong opinion? Like, every time I hear you talking, I'm like, ugh, I'm not here for this.
Yeah. What's up, Julian? What's up, Tosh, on the live feed? Peace, y'all.
That's always a little
I don't like this. It's confused. I mean, what's confusing to me, I just realized today, I get this thing with procedural shit, man. Like, what's confusing today is like what people say they're doing versus what they're actually doing, and like she's out here. She's probably doing a strategic rollout for a product. You know, that used to be a very clear thing that an artist did. Artists go out and they go on talk shows to talk about their art and their product, and then they bring something out and we judge it on the merits of the product and how good they can dance or how good they can make us jam or whatever. And then boom, they're a good artist or they're a bad artist. But now we're living in this era where everything has a new political tinge to it, a political edge to it, which I don't even know if it's political or whether it's this, or whether it's more just sort of the effluvium of social media and, you know, just the ability to have instant judgment and instant feedback on your opinions and all this kind of shit, right? So, but whatever it is, now you have to participate in that as well. You can't just be an artist. There's no way to just be an artist. You're going to be forced to have opinions. And now artists are so inured to that they've just accepted that the way to be talked about, the way to be in the public eye is. Did you see the end of Dear White People? No. Okay, I don't want to ruin it for you, but one of the characters in it, played by Tessa Thompson, is
she's not in the show. You talking about the movie?
No, the series.
She's not in the series.
No, somebody who looks
Tessa Thompson,
the one that's freaking with Janelle.
I don't know what that means. Is she back on the show?
She plays a character on the show. She has a guest appearance on the show. I just watched it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she
came back as Sam. Because she was in the movie as the main character, so I'm wondering how they brought her back on to the. She's
playing a totally different character. I was going to say she's playing a stand-in for like Candace Owen, like one of these right-wing black chicks.
Interesting.
So she's playing. So she's playing that. She's playing that this character, and at the end, Sam, the current Sam, confronts her, and it's kind of like she basically just says. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, basically, bitch, I'm just out here trying to eat. I got good at this by being on the opposite side of the debate team. So who cares if I'm on this side or that side? I'm making this money because it's all about money and land and property and just getting this. And it's like, and she's like, this is what you're doing. And she's like, and Sam, current Sam's like, I'm not on the stage. And she's like, you're literally on the stage. I mean, you got to see the scene, but it's hilarious. And they talk about it a lot. They talk about this a lot about these professional social justice warriors, whatever, which is a pejorative term, and I don't like it. But it has become part of the economy because of social media. Because one of the things that churns people's attention is outrage. You know, in the same way that news media has discovered, CNN, Fox News in particular, they've learned that if you can inflame people's passions, they will keep tuning in to hear the story so they can feel it.
Certainly, yes.
All I'm saying is, like, so Azaelia Banks, all these people, they represent this new trend now where artists or Kanye West,
totally,
right, feel they have to participate in this toxicity. And I just, if there's anything I have that the reason I'm ranting about it, the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I feel like it is kind of the death of what we used to consider to be art. I feel like art used to be the place that you had to pack this shit into it. Like, that's why when something like Donald Glover's This Is America comes out, which, holy shit. Everyone's like, yay, oh my God, we have something to talk about. Oh my God, think pieces and thoughts and ideas and oh my God, I'm so excited, right? Because whatever we're getting in between these oases of like actual considered art, whatever we're getting in between that shit is not nourishment.
And what was also interesting to me was as soon as that came out and it was an artistic piece of substance in many people's opinion, people immediately were like, well, let's go back in 10 years to tweets. Remember when he said this? And why is his baby mama white? And you know what I mean? It was like I'm agreeing with you in that the conversation could not be about the video and the lyrics.
Right. No, it
had to be also about him as a person and how and so and then for people who say that we shouldn't do that, I think those are the same people that are saying, well, why are we persecuting an R. Kelly? Because we are saying that his personal business is so egregious that it has to influence how we view or take in the art.
And I agree. I mean, like, I can't disagree. Look, I am too of this tribe. I believe in whatever this tribe of progressive, women and LGBTQ, whatever these people are leading us, I am largely of an emotional yoke to be like, I agree with what these social activists are saying, and because they're on the front lines and actually seeing the effects of Trump's policies on people, and so largely I just go, boom, I'm with that, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. But every once in a while, specifically at my intersection as being an artist, I get a chill up my spine whenever I see, and in particular as a black artist, I get a chill up my spine when I see in particular black artists singled out for a crime. And let's be clear, there's a lot of white boys who have beat women. And when I say beat women, I'm referencing XX Tentacion. I think I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
I'm not familiar with that.
I don't know this guy. I've never listened to this music, but he is a singer. I saw him on Apple. He has a record out. I listened to a couple of tracks. They were, largely of this kind of mumble rap singing half thing, but melodic and, beaty, whatever. But apparently he beats women or beat his girlfriend. I mean, sick guy. I don't even know. I've not even looked up all of the allegations about this guy, but he's a bad dude, and I'm willing to take it on face. I'm willing to take it because it's come from Vox. It's come from all the places I trust. I'm willing to trust the tribal and institutional memory on this and go like, cool, bad dude. Same with R. Kelly. I'm like, yes, bad dude. I am willing to do this. My thing with this whole Spotify shit, and I got into a mild back and forth with somebody on Facebook about this. My whole thing about my Spotify thing is that Spotify just filed papers in February to go public. So they're going to be a public company. And right before they go public, after they had bigged up this guy XX Tentacion, giving him all this space and retail on Spotify, they put him on all the Spotify playlists. They basically turned him into a star. Now, for their own publicity, then they're going to crucify him? I'm just like, damn, this is like... Have
they pulled all his music?
No. This is even better. With the whole R. Kelly and XXX, I feel ridiculous saying this name. With the whole R. Kelly thing, they're only taking them off the playlist, not off the service. And the thing is that the playlists are how I guess these guys go viral.
Sure, because people who might never have heard them will hear them going in to listen to something else. Exactly.
So apparently, people were still putting R. Kelly on playlists. I mean, I guess I don't know, whatever. And this X guy. So now they're saying, no, they don't do that. And some people are saying this is censorship. And I actually disagree. I don't feel like this is censorship. That's not what concerns me. Because R. Kelly can still put his music out. He could be like Prince. He could have his own website and have a fan club, a cult, whatever you want to call it. And they could all participate in whatever he wants to participate in. I'm not here to judge that man and the people that fall under his spell. That's their karma to work out. But that's not censorship. Censorship is when the government intervenes to make sure you can't have a living, right? What we're talking about is good old-fashioned blackballing. It's blackballing. It's when you go, your shit is too stinky for me to... I don't fuck with that. Like, if you're a murderer, you could be on... I still put you on Spotify playlist. That's fine, because we know there's some murderers on some of these country playlists and these hip-hop playlists, right? But if you do something that currently in the public court of opinion is poisonous to our bottom line or liable to make people not invest in us or sink our bottom line, then we're not going to do that. And I feel like that is what I feel like is a bad precedent to set, because if Spotify and these other distributors of music are going to become the de facto platforms through which all our music is distributed, then I want the process to be a little bit clearer to me on what music is promotable and not promotable than what the public currently is not feeling. I just wanted to be a little bit clearer than that. That's all.
And I don't know that they already had, an official statement on those rules prior to this. And then, they're going to start combing through all the playlists. Or are they saying, okay, because this is a curated portion of the service, this is where we feel we should exert some rules or, ownership or guidance-ship, but this is not. And then what crime, what felony do you have to be convicted? Clearly not. R. Kelly has not been convicted outside of the child pornography. but
I
I'm
think
sure he can't
XXX
be
is
the only
currently undergoing
one.
like proceedings, but he hasn't been convicted yet. But he
So,
is like,
you know, it's, I don't know. It's all very confusing because there are still clear boundaries that are being crossed. I think across a social kind of morality that we are all, for the most part, are willing to participate in.
yeah.
But again, there is no one authority to say this qualifies as immoral and this is on the fence and this is okay, and then to who and whose lives matter, essentially.
Yes.
So
I'm worried. I'm just worried about who's making these decisions.
It is only going to get worse.
These
before
well-intentioned
it gets
decisions.
better.
These are well-intentioned
in that
decisions.
sense.
These are well-intentioned decisions, but we're talking about algorithms and technological platforms that we're trying to police and build biases into to protect people, but these biases are not inherently good or bad. You know what I mean? And they have the capacity later down the line to be used against us. I mean, like, I know it's like...
Right. Is the onus more on Spotify, or is it on the label? Is it on Pandora, or is it on these people, the promoters? Or is it these clubs that are booking him? Or is it the fans who are buying the tickets?
Yeah, man.
Like,
where's the culpability exactly in, you know? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's very confusing to me because all my favorites are trash. Like, literally everyone I grew up liking is horrible. So I have nothing. I have no refuge and nowhere to really, no ground to stand on.
I just know my heart goes out to Cardi B.
Yes, back to Cardi B.
You know,
and
I think that
yeah, I think it's awful.
She's so green to all of this, and she's in a particular situation that does not lend itself to having the thickest skin.
Yeah. And
I don't think that, you know, whether she's a low-key industry plant or not, I do think that I saw someone else say that was essentially the subtext of what Azaelia was saying. And
oh my gosh.
I mean, I think ideally it would be nice if Azaelia just addressed it in a song. You know what I mean?
She doesn't do that though. She never makes music about the things that are actually going on. She only makes like party music.
Oh.
Like she makes party music that you would assume LGBTQ people would be into, but then I think she talks trash about them sometimes.
Well, she just always says faggot, and I don't think they take kindly to that.
Exactly.
She called the other dude from, what was it, One Direction, a sand nigger. I mean, the whole thing is bad.
That's not
She's very problematic, as is Cardi, but I think because Azaelia seems more unapologetic and she doesn't ever seem to really change her ways, people are not happy with that. And Cardi gives this impression of, this is just me, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I'm going to try and do better. And so we want to continue to like her. I just don't see how personally attacking her character or her education, or implying that because you don't speak standard American English that you are ignorant or unintelligent, because that's what they said about all black people if you spoke Ebonics, which is its own language and has its own rules. And or, I mean, you know, her parents are immigrants. This is not her first language. So now, you know what I mean? It's just like low-key racist against all people whose English is not their first language, and kind of
well, I mean, honestly,
putting
mad
so
Trumpian.
much like, well, she's cool with Trump. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's not anti-Trump, and then it just lends itself another argument the same way Trump is like, oh yeah, Kanye gets it. You know, it's another one of those. Well, Azaelia gets it. You know, these motherfuckers need to speak English, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it just gives more fuel to the xenophobic fire for her specifically to come at Cardi about language, considering who she is and what we know of who she is in her culture. Like, that's the language that she grew up with, and just because her parents or whatever may not speak the best English and she doesn't either, doesn't mean they're not intelligent.
And I personally,
she's not the only hip hop artist, female black rapper out there making money. You know,
I reject superlatives
when
it comes to language. Language is a vehicle for communication. So Cardi B is obviously communicating her ass off.
As words tell truth, though, she isn't. Cardi says stays in her world.
Mel is reading.
Sorry, I was trying to read some of the comments on the Facebook Live. So, you know, there was one comment that's saying basically Azaelia was speaking truth, but she is insane. And then someone else was basically saying that, you know, Cardi is not out
basically,
here attacking anyone, and so basically she does not. I assume that she does not need to be attacked. So I don't know. I loved her Instagram. I hope she comes back. But more importantly, I hope she just takes the time and space that she needs, because Azaelia and all this drama is not worth her time, and this is not why she's got to where she is. And so if her well-being is just like, let me get rid of this Instagram for a minute, then do that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Take care of yourself, rest, take care of the baby, whatever the hell, be with your family, enjoy all your swag. I love when she opens up her gifts from designers, and she's genuinely.
You can tell she genuinely
excited. I'm
excited
saying I would be too. I
love that, man. I hate.
I have almost nothing in common with Cardi
nothing.
B, but if I came home from tour or a movie or anything, and I just had boxes and boxes of awesome stuff, and people was like sending me embossed and engraved and personalized shit, and of course they're gonna get the publicity of it, but I'm still appreciative of it. If this is not something I'm used to, I'm still going to celebrate it and be thankful.
I just, damn it, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sitting here trying to do two things at once. Anyway,
well, that was the first mother thing that kind of led me to that.
No, that's great. That was a good one. That led to a lot of good tangents. This is a headline that comes to us from Bossup.com, which is, of course, the CNN of the hood. I thought this was just fucking hilarious. I mean, what is the world coming to? Coming to us from the great state of Florida, because everything great happens in Florida, honestly to God. But according to WCVB, Hattie Reynolds, 95, called the police on her 46-year-old granddaughter, Janine Williams, because she would not, quote-unquote, get out of bed. Hattie told authorities that she was tired of Janine staying in bed all day, soaking up the air conditioning, okay? Unfortunately for Hattie, she also admitted to slapping her granddaughter in the face with a slipper. And because of strict domestic violence laws,
slippers,
Exhibit A. She was arrested despite her granddaughter not wanting to press charges. So Grandma Reynolds had to spend the night in Valencia County Jail.
They made her spend the night?
Released the next day on her own recognizance. Lord have mercy. Free Hattie Reynolds, y'all.
I think this brings up a good point. This is going to be a segue into a lot of things. But I think, I'll just say, let me start. I think right now, I hear people who are not black or white talk about how black and white America is. Like, everything is black or white, and you basically have to choose. But I think that both black and white people really need to press a pause button on calling the police when things are bothering you, as opposed to you are actually in danger.
Right.
Because it doesn't really serve when black people do. How many times has a black family called because they have a relative who has mental health issues, who is having an episode? Call the police to ask for help. Call 911. The police come, shoot them, kill them, hurt them. They have to be hospitalized when that's not what the intent. That was not the request for help that they needed. Right. Or in this case, poor Granny. I mean, she 95.
Look, she called the police.
That's what I mean. I didn't realize it.
She thought she could trust the police.
But why? That's not even illegal.
She said this girl is sitting around here soaking up the air conditioning. If you can't slap your granddaughter for soaking up the air conditioning, a 46-year-old woman, it wasn't a child. It was a grown person.
And it's like, there's so much there, because that's a whole other thing. Because I'm also way over this, you always have to. Sometimes people need to sleep in. Sometimes people are fucking tired. No, honestly. Fine, if you do it every day and, you're not paying for nothing, you don't ever work, you
Clearly
just eat the food.
Clearly she was not paying for anything.
Then, that's a conversation that needs to be had. She's 95. She's like, hey, I'm paying this bill off my Social Security or whatever. I need you to do something else. But I don't see how black people in particular can continue to hold this idea that the police are there to help them.
Well, On that positive note,
I mean, the majority of the time, I'm not gonna say don't ever call the police. I'm not gonna say when there is actual danger to your person, your livelihood, whatever, to never call the police. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think black people and white people in particular as well, considering all the times in the news recently that white people have called the police for black people doing basically regular things that are not criminal.
Did you hear about the girl
everyone
at
needs to
Yale?
take a bus? Yeah, that one really pissed me off. So a Yale graduate student was on another level of her own dormitory, a study room, writing a paper.
Yep.
Fell asleep, and this bitch called the police on her.
That's right. She called the police on her, and when the police arrived, they asked her to show the ID, and the girl said, "No, I don't know."
Well, also they were like, "Well, we need to prove that you live here." She's like, "I just used my key to
my
get
key
in
to
my
open the door.
apartment,
Yeah,
so why
so
do
I
you
just
need my
showed you."
ID?"
Yeah.
And they were asking her all these questions, and she was saying how this white girl had called the police on black people in the dormitory another time.
Yeah, and this guy stepped forward. Actually, another Yaley stepped forward to say that she had called the police on him before.
He was black too.
Yeah, and he's black too.
Yeah, so there was that. There's the dumb bitch in Oakland who was like, some people were cooking out in the area of the park that states it is okay to cook out. And this random white woman was calling the police on them to say this was not right. And when they were like challenging her, I didn't hear an actual clear statement as to why she felt it was necessary to call the police. And then as they continued to say, no, look at the map, this is approved, this is okay, and the police had arrived, this bitch burst into tears. I mean, sobs, heaving. I'm being harassed.
Oh,
bitch, you started the harassment. And I think that's why people get so upset. That's why I get upset. Mind your own goddamn motherfucking business. You know what I mean? Same thing with the woman studying.
Yeah.
You've never been so tired writing a paper that you dozed off?
Her name was Lolade Sinyobola, which I'm probably just massacring. Perhaps she's African, continental African, I'm not sure. I don't see her picture on here. But, yeah. And here's the thing about racism. Sort of a teach one without racism. Is that individually, every one of those episodes, you could take individually to be like, about whatever it is, you know, like that woman could claim to be like, well, I was in the moment, I was all alone, and somebody told me that I had this all, you know, whatever. She can make up any excuse that she wants individually to absolve herself from responsibility from that particular instance, right? But collectively speaking, you add up all of these incidents, and for black people, it's like, y'all don't see that this shit is harassment? Y'all don't see like that collectively?
Right.
This is terrorism?
And also that the implicit bias is that black equals criminality. If this black person is here, I automatically suspect that it's criminal activity. So you fell asleep in this dormitory, in this study room, mind you. Yeah. But that's what's crazy too, bitch. It looked like they lived on the same goddamn floor. So, I mean, I don't think so. But I have lived in a dormitory.
You really never seen me. You never seen me in this door.
people.
You never seen me.
You see motherfuckers.
And a black woman. And a black woman. A black woman.
You totally see.
You've seen
people.
me before. You've seen me before. You've seen me before walking around here. Don't act like you ain't seen me before. You ain't that colorblind.
So there was that. And then the whole thing with the park and the barbecue, it was like, this is really none of your business. Or if she was smart. And this is the other thing too, I think, where people get fucked up. And this is where the entitlement and the white privilege comes in. Because this white woman at the park got all up in basically the area where they were cooking out and stood there to make the call. Whereas she could have stayed her ass in the car, you know, several feet away, and called the police and then brought the police over. But she deliberately put herself into that environment in a direct confrontation because she felt like she, as white woman, was protected and had every right to be there. So when she was challenged, she broke down into tears. And all of a sudden, she was the victim. Not that she was disrupting a family affair. Not that she had mixed up the information on the map. But she was supposed to do something. She had every right to do something. And that was challenged. The same thing with this woman at the study room. And so, you know what, she's been admonished by the college president, but, you know, it happens over and over and over. These women These 4 black women used an Airbnb, paid, settled up, left, and the white woman who owned the property called the police on them. And they were in handcuffs for a moment. And when asked why, she said because they did not look back and wave at me.
She wasn't polite enough.
And when they said, and then when it followed up, she literally doubled down and said, well, all they had to do was wave. Bitch, I paid you money to use this facility. I don't wave at the hotel, at the receptionist, at the hotel lobby when I'm leaving. I don't fucking wave at the valet. I just gave you money for a service. So again, here is the privilege and the entitlement. Not only can we have a legal transaction, you still owe me a deference of respect. That's that slave shit right there. It's no two ways about it.
Well, you know, that's also a cultural clash, because I'm conflicted. On one hand, there's enough Negro in me to want to be friendly with everybody. On the other hand, there's enough Malcolm X where I feel like I want to be able to turn it on and off depending on when I want to turn it on and off.
I think it's highly doubtful that they paid and didn't nobody say thank you.
I agree. Totally agree.
I have never paid for something and not said thank you.
But you know, that seems.
But going back and waving, what the fuck?
It's going around because you heard about Bob Marley's.
She was one of them.
Oh, she was one of the people.
She was one of this particular story.
Bob
Bob Marley's granddaughter was one of the 4.
Oh, I'm glad that's the same story, because I was about to say, God damn, there's a whole lot of this going around.
But it's gotten so bad that now white people are writing articles like, white people stop calling the police on black people for doing regular things like smoking, sleeping, sitting in the car,
it's wild,
waiting
right
for
now.
someone.
It's wild right now.
Buying stuff, what?
Oh my God!
It makes sense. We're starting to overanalyze with good reason basically everything. And in terms of this, like white people calling the cops on black people and these types of implicit biases and microaggressions, black people and other people of color have been experiencing this for time immemorial since we got to this continent. But now there's social media, there are videos, and people are paying attention. Other white people are paying attention.
Yes.
So we're gonna see the headlines over and over and over and over.
Yeah,
it's the same way with police shootings of unarmed black men. It had been happening for decades, but now we're seeing it and we're talking about it.
Well, Breitbart's favorite sitcom, Roseanne, which I'm frenemies with. I kind of like it. Like sometimes I like it because I like that they at least attack hot button issues, you know, and aren't afraid to go there. But every once in a while, I'm reminded it's like, I don't know.
Wait, one more aside to finish up that story. So, in true Oakland fashion, where the police have been called on that cookout, this week, basically a whole bunch of, they basically put out like a cookout flyer and it said black people come to the cookout in the same spot and celebrated there. And basically, you know, I think, and that's what black people do. We take bullshit and we make it into something beautiful, because they took what was a racist incident and said, you know what, we gonna come over here and stomp that shit out, and we gonna celebrate and bring some joy to this space, because we can be here and we should be here. And it's like I was reading in gentrified Williamsburg, a black woman lawyer and her daughter were accused of stealing. And, you know, it's difficult for people because these were traditionally neighborhoods of people of color, black people, and as more and more white people come in and it becomes gentrified, they slide right in like they know everything about the neighborhood and become the authority on it. So there is going to be friction and resistance and conflict when you do that. You don't go to another country and say, oh, I'm the captain now. I mean, if you do, you better have your fucking guns. So, you know, I don't know. Anyway, that made me happy to see that there was an even bigger cookout in the same spot by the community. Speaking
of cookouts, shout out to Greg Lupa, who just joined us on the live cast, and also one of the hosts and creators of the Val Verde Music Festival and 45th Annual Family Picnic. I hope we can go to that this year. We missed it last year, but it's going to be a hoot. It's going to be at Val Verde Park
Where is that? Do you know?
30300 West Arlington Road, Val Verde, California, 91384.
Oh, I don't know where Val Verde is.
Let's look in a map. Let's see.
But what were you starting to talk about? Sorry, I just wanted to finish the cookout.
No worries, I'll get back. Celebrate the community with free camping, live entertainment, hiking, yoga, swimming, and unique vendors at historical Val Verde, which was once known as the Black Palm Springs. That sounds great. The Black Palm Springs. So head on out there, and yeah, we'll see you out there. Okay, guys. Let's.
Y'all really need to. If y'all are in Southern California, we'll post it on the page, the Facebook page. But y'all need to make sure you get out to Solnick.
Oh,
we only caught a little bit of it, but now that I see how it gets down, I'm like, let me plan my shit out.
They was out there having a damn.
It was amazing. I was like, okay, I could do this.
Yeah,
we just have to it's way out in the dusty heat, so just get your supplies, get your tent, get your coolers, get your things for the kids, and just bring your cash. And be prepared to hang the fuck out amongst a beautiful group of people and great music.
Indeed. So, I was talking about Roseanne. So,
yes.
So Roseanne's latest episode was basically some Muslims moved in next door, and her husband and his black friend shows up all of a sudden. Okay, so that's black person number one, coupled with her daughter, who's also black, she's just a little black
granddaughter.
Her granddaughter, who never says shit in the whole show, and is just kind of just there, so she's just always there, just keeping it black. And then
don't you realize that's enough for some of the viewers?
Oh, no.
Her being there is something.
This episode was a masterclass in defensive casting. So then Dan's friend shows up for the first time in this reboot, who also happens to be a black guy. He's from the original show, but he used to be a poker buddy, and they never made any reference to his race. Now he shows up. He's clearly...
And he's black.
He's black. And they're both talking about how a job that they were counting on just gets undercut by some immigrants. And they, and he's like... And they try to put it compassionately, quote unquote, these guys are just so desperate, they're willing to work for anything, but it's basically screwing us, right?
Wow.
All right, so that's that. So that's one plot line. Other plot line is Roseanne. Her daughter, her granddaughter, wants to talk to her mother and use the internet, but because Dan doesn't get this job, doesn't get this money, they don't have no money to pay the bills, so the internet gets cut off. So they're trying to guess the neighbor's password because they're Muslim. They're typing in all these racist, passwords and shit, trying to guess it, and they can't. So finally, but the thing is, they got to talk to their mother by 2 a.m. because that's when she has a window to talk. So they go and bother these people 2 o'clock in the morning, and she brings a bat. He answers the door. He's got a bat. You know what I mean? And then basically, they talk or whatever, and the people let them use the thing. They let them use the thing because they're just like us.
Okay.
Yeah, they let them use the internet because they're just like us, and we're all one big happy family.
We all just want to get online.
Want to just get online. And then the next day, she goes to the grocery store and she sees the Muslim wife at the counter. She's trying to pay for some food, and she doesn't have enough food, and it's like, oh, it's embarrassing. I can't get the food. Whatever.
Roseanne doesn't have enough money?
No. The Muslim woman doesn't have enough money.
Okay.
She gets food stamps, the whole nine, right?
So they're broke too?
Everybody broke, honey.
Okay,
just
sorry,
like us, right? Because they live next door. So Roseanne swoops in, and then she's like, here, boom. She pays for it, and she's like, you better leave this lady alone because the cashier is being rude to her, racist to her and shit. And Roseanne swoops in with her white privilege, as you're supposed to, I guess, ought to, and defends her or whatever. But then ends it basically saying some shit because this woman has enough fertilizer to blow this whole place up sky high. And it's
that's the punchline.
Yeah, and that's the punchline. It's like you can't serve two masters. You can't want to be compassionate towards Muslim people and paint them as a complete human being, and then also make them the butt of the joke.
I can't. I don't watch the show. I didn't watch it when it came on originally. Side note: the ratings are going down since its initial opening.
Fucking of course.
But more importantly, that show is for a particular audience. So as much as they push it, they have the little black girl, they had a black friend, they have the discussion. Oh, they're just like us. Oh, they're broke too, but they have internet. Oh, they shared. Okay, I share. but then making the joke, that is what the audience wants. The white person still has to, the white people doesn't learn everything.
Yeah.
They don't become, Roseanne's never going to become a social justice warrior at the end of any episode, especially, much less the season.
That is one of the limitations.
But any time that she engages and maybe has to have a mildly critical thought about her assumptions about a person of color, that is, quote unquote, in my perspective, a win, I think, from the showrunners and the whole point of rebooting it. I don't think they're out there just to promote Roseanne's crazy personal agenda of, alt-right extremism or Trumpianism.
No, I don't think so either, no.
But,
yeah.
I mean, do I think they're pushing it very far, or it's very nuanced, or it's really clear in where it should go? No, but again, I don't watch the show. But it doesn't surprise me in the least that there's always going to be an undercut in the show, because that's what's going to be funny to that audience.
Have you ever, have you been keeping up with Blackish? No, that one's
No, I never really watched it, but everyone's talking about it, so maybe at some point I will get to it. But there's so many shows.
But this one is especially harsh. It's basically Bo.
I hear they're breaking up.
Yeah, it's very harsh. Quick shout out for places.
Hey, girl.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, come get it.
Our friend Sari just showed up.
Totally in the bed.
So watch they get acclimated. I just want to give a shout out to Jamaica. Jamaica was hit by flash floods. The rivers are overflowing after days of heavy rain, after a prolonged spell of torrential downpours. So prayers out to them. And also Hawaii, where there have been eruptions and where lava has been like burning up whole towns and villages, and there's been evacuations, and it's crazy, man. It's like a disaster movie. It's almost like Mother Earth is mad at us for some reason. I don't know why. I can't imagine why, what we may be doing to Mother Earth that may be aggravating her for any reason whatsoever. We're such good tenants of the planet Earth. We do so much for her. I actually read that a plastic bag was found at 36,000 feet in the Marina Trench. It's the furthest.
Mariana,
thank you. That's why I married you, honey, because you're very smart and well read. Which is the furthest down they've ever found a plastic bag. So congratulations, people. We did it. We finally have inseminated the world with our toxicity. We're everywhere. Another milestone. Human beings didn't exist the last time there was this much CO2 in the air.
What's that picture of? China? Beijing?
I don't know. I can't really tell. But
Los Angeles?
Bad. That's not
it's
Los
really
Angeles.
Bad.
Yeah, it's bad. That's not Los Angeles, though. It's too many buildings. Anyways, just want to bring that to you. Planet Earth, that's where we're living.
Can we talk about the Met Gala?
Let's talk about the Met Gala, hon.
I just really want to talk about Rihanna as the Pope.
Oh.
I just thought that was amazing.
Oh, should I show people?
Yes, you have to.
Okay.
The theme was Heaven's Best. So there was a celestial theme to this year's Met Gala, which is a fundraiser.
Andy from Bravo was at.
Oh, I don't know.
Was Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, she was there.
And they were queens.
Oh, maybe. She was pretty ridiculous. But it was so many black people there this year. You know, people from Black Panther and basically all the show. I mean, they invite a lot of celebrities and models, and it's a fundraiser for the Costume Institute. And some people are like, why the fuck are we paying attention to this? This is bullshit. Celebrities glorifying money and this and that. But I think that if you don't like fashion, you can also just look at, I mean, thousands of people have like a job for months because of this fundraiser, and it does raise money that does good things. But Rihanna as the Pope, I would go to church for that.
I always get down for Rihanna. What is the Met Gala? I heard
it's a fundraiser for the Costume Institute.
The Costume Institute. Okay, got it. That's why
it's the biggest fundraiser of the Metropolitan.
Okay.
Something or other, and it's the biggest fundraiser, I think, for the fashion industry
in America.
I know you podcast listeners are going like, I know Mel literally just said that and you didn't hear it. And yeah, that happens sometimes because I'm doing two things at once. And
there were some lovely costumes, I thought, but particularly Rihanna.
Right on. Well,
because she had a very much like beaded, I think it was, I don't know who she wore, but it had a huge headdress. It was very like bedazzled. She looked amazing. I mean, everyone does. And she always goes and shuts it down. She's always one of the best dressed.
Well,
I was
right on.
totally here for that. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah,
Look at that Pope hat.
I love it. No, I love
that.
I love Rihanna as the Pope. She just came out with some new lingerie, yes?
I love that. And she said, it's for women. I want you to put it on and feel like you're a badass bitch.
Is that what it's called?
Seriously, I think I would go to mass if Rihanna was giving the. It's not called. What is it called? It's not a sermon. What is it called?
The mass.
The mass.
Oh, the liturgy. No.
Yeah. Oh, that's something. Anyway, I would. I would confess to Rihanna. Forgive me, Rihanna, for I have sinned.
Anyway. Yeah, that's cool. What else? Clearly I have no feelings on that. I just found out that existed, but it's awesome. I'm always pro Rihanna.
What else are we talking about? The fact we never talked about how the two guys from the Starbucks who were handcuffed and then released for just waiting on their friend.
How they settled for $1?
Yeah.
With the city, but
yeah,
I think they settled for $1.
Donated, donated,
and then the city donated $200,000 to promised.
Promised to, but like, why not get the money and then they?
I think they still got money from something.
Why don't they take the money and then donate it to specific organizations?
I think because they got money from Starbucks. I think they got a settlement with Starbucks as well.
So where did the dollar come from? The city. The
city is what they settled with
Oh,
because of the police situation.
Well,
because there was two people they had beef with. It was Starbucks and the police, or the city. And I think they settled with the city for the money, and because that was going to be the harder one to fight because the police show up.
Sure, the city always has to pay out.
Yeah, and also the police can always say, "Well, we were called. Somebody called. It ain't our fault that somebody called us." You know what I mean? Whereas Starbucks.
So Starbucks, I don't know. We didn't talk about this. They're shutting down a lot of their stores on May 29th for basically implicit bias training.
We talked about it
employee
once.
training. Oh, so are there petitions for Waffle House to do the same? Because Waffle House is fucking doubling down. They attacked that black woman till her boobs were showing. They just wrestled a guy who was taking his sister to prom.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because
what's up here? I'm going to post that petition because there are charges against the black woman asking for the manager's information because she didn't want to pay 50 cents for the utensils.
I'm all for it. I guess I'm all for it. Again, I find myself in one of those situations where I'm like, when I listen to the wisdom of the tribe, I'm like, yeah, of course we should have sensitivity training so people at least even understand what it is to have unconscious bias and to be be triggerable like that. But on the other hand, I've also been concerned that contrarian me has been concerned with the amount of responsibility that we are investing corporate culture in being our moral fucking guard dogs.
Is there another way though? Because corporations are king. You know what I mean? That's what runs this country. So is there another way? Like, doesn't it have to be a two-pronged approach? Don't we have to talk to our government, elected officials, individuals, and corporations and our institutions? If it's a systemic institutional racist issue, don't we have to address it at this institutional systemic level? I think which corporations would fall into.
I think that I'm much more comfortable with institutions whose purported reason for being our service than a corporation who's generally their reason d'etre is to make money for shareholders. That's my concern, is that sure, if the Catholic Church is also has billions of dollars in outsized influence. Religions exert this influence, and they also have people who break the law and do terrible things. I'm saying that I don't trust them with my moral I don't trust them to steer the country the right way because they're supporting Trump and saying that he's a fucking Christian, even though he's fucking porn stars and whatever. So why in God's name am I going to trust a corporation whose avowed reason is to sell me caffeine for money or whatever, or is to sell me sugar and pancake syrup and pancake batter for money? I'm like, I think we're expecting too much from these corporations.
Sure, but are we saying that? I mean, I think having trust and expectation is one thing, but do you feel like we should not be addressing it at that level at all?
I think that what we're experiencing is the loss of any meaningful administration at the government level of some sort of actual consumer watchdog or
I feel like Trump probably got rid of that agency already.
That shit had to go. What I'm saying is that and it's
I just read that they're gonna try to lift a ban on like child labor laws.
It's not even just Trump. We haven't even gotten into Trump in the international.
Like, wait a minute, what?
It isn't even just Trump. It's like it's been going on for decades since I've been a kid. I've been seeing this center shift towards us just accepting that the government doesn't have responsibility to do certain things or to hold corporations accountable for certain things. I mean, for God's sake, we're now living in the aftermath of Citizens United,
right?
Well, corporations are people, and all I'm saying is that the more we invest this sort of responsibility in people and personify them and anthropomorphize them and treat them like people, whatever, I think that what we're doing is abdicating what used to be. We used to expect this type of rigor from our government. We used to think that public servants should be high-minded and moral.
But we know that that's not going to happen.
I don't know that we know that or that our knowing it makes it so. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I mean, not to get all astral and ethereal and shit, but it's like what Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So I feel like when we look at our government, we go like, government is just full of assholes who don't know what they're doing and they're just trying to get reelected. Then I think, bam, that's exactly what we get.
Yeah, I'm going to have to slightly disagree. I mean, I think Trump and some of the people in the GOP are actively, proposing specific policies that were not being proposed before. So it's not so much we said this is what's going to happen. They said it.
Well, we don't have the thing in abstract. Let's start talking about some of that shit, just so we can say that we have talked about some of the big political events going on. So Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear proliferation deal, which apparently, according to all the smart people who have studied it and thought about it a great deal, much longer than I have, says it's a bad thing. I don't really fucking know. I don't even know if I care. It's all very abstract until missiles are raining down from the sky. Ooh.
Sorry, we have a good comment.
Oh, this is a really good comment. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Facebook Live.
Let's spin back right quick to the sexual harassment thing. Okay. Because we are a litigious state, their board of directors took a page from the sexual harassment book. If you train them, it'll hold you less accountable. Starbucks is solely protecting their bottom line is to train them, whereas racism is practice. It's a cluster. Truth. That is truth.
I would agree with that. Which is why it's shocking, I think, a little bit that Waffle House is doubling down and not doing that. Maybe because Starbucks is more of a global entity.
Yeah, Starbucks is like in Seattle. I think they're more progressive.
And they're also around
listen
the
to me.
world.
I'm talking about them like Starbucks is like this dude. Like, Starbucks is cool.
You know
like,
Howard?
He likes coffee, and he's chill.
You know Howard?
Yeah, he's chill. He's mad chill. You know what I'm saying? Starbucks.
That's your homie.
Yeah, or like Waffle House, you'd be like, yeah, Waffle House is a dick. That guy, man, don't go out there. He's a fucking asshole.
I mean, it's not a nationwide chain, so there's so many of us who don't have to deal with it, but
it's true. I mean, just like Chick-fil-A. I mean, like they still don't like gay. They're still supporting anti-gay shit, true. But they're flourishing out here. I mean, because that goddamn chicken is so good. I don't know what to tell you.
I've actually never had it.
It's delicious. I got to get you a box. It's fantastic.
It's one right down the street.
Moist and perfectly seasoned. So we pulled out of the Iran deal. So I guess we're going to go back to sanctions. Europe is pissed. I don't know if we give a fuck about Europe anymore. Are we friends anymore? I mean, like, part of me as an American, I guess I care about these kind of things, like our standing in the world and how well we're doing on stuff. But as a black guy, sometimes I'm just like, y'all just invited me to this conversation and y'all got this shit all fucked up like this. I mean, come on. I don't know if I want to take responsibility for all this going on right now yet. You know, I was very comfortable being the wretched of the earth in America and pointing my accusatory fingers at all the things that you guys are doing.
I mean, it just continues to upset any type of global alliance. So if some global shit does go down, we don't really have allies, or we will have less.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is I'm conflicted.
That's a precarious position to be in, I think.
And I'm not saying I'm rooting against America, but I am at the point where I'm like, we may be teenagers with money who need a timeout, and maybe what we need is like somebody just to embarrass us sufficiently to be like, oh shit, we need to stop doing this dumb shit.
But like, is that even possible?
Are we too big to fail? Maybe?
Yeah, well, just like September 11 didn't stop us in our tracks.
No, but I think September 11th did a lot to bring us together as a nation. Unfortunately, and in a turning lemons into lemonade kind of way. Like for a minute, black people were like, "Oh shit, we against the terrorists. Nobody's looking at us." You know, like for a moment, it definitely felt like
sure, but we weren't just against the terrorists. Then it became we were against all Muslims.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, no, I mean, it was always against somebody, but that's what America kind of is. It's like a gun. Part of America is a gun, and it's got to be pointed at somebody at all times. You know what I mean? That's kind of the point of this is America.
It feels like it's pointing at ourselves right now.
Right now, I definitely feel like this shit is pointing at ourselves.
It feels like the gun
1,000%
is like we're trying to push it away, but like Trump is just insistent on turning it.
He's like, look, it's fine. It's like he just keeps going. It's fine. I know exactly how this thing works.
It's like that scene in Deer Hunter when they're like fucking have the gun. They're playing Russian roulette in part of the camp.
I think it's the only scene I've ever seen.
Just like. And they're just forcing, they're like, no, it's fine. I got it. I'm fucking badass. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, that's America right now. And so
oh my God.
I'm just like, okay,
We're
so that happened.
From the Deer Hunter.
So we did that.
It doesn't end well, though.
No, it doesn't end well. But on the other hand.
That movie, like, even if you live.
But on the other hand.
It doesn't end well.
And kind of like a Mr. Magoo kind of way, you know, Trump seems to just be, if nothing else, Trump seems to be like the luckiest fucker on the planet. If nothing else, his superpower seems to be he always seems to have a friend who's doing him a favor or a solid, maybe some mafioso shit. I don't know. But so the latest thing is with North Korea. This guy just arrives right at the time where Kim Jong-il is like, you know what? I'm ready to.
Yeah, was it the president from South Korea stepped into North Korea?
Yes,
they were like holding hands.
They hugged and they were hugging and shit.
Thing.
Yeah, this is.
But here's Trump taking credit. It's like,
well, he got 3. He did get 3 Americans released from as being hostages, and I don't know if like he got them. I don't know. Whatever, they're released.
I mean, he's always going to take.
Of course, he showed up. He meet up. He's the president. I grant him that. That is his job to do that. So. These Koreans are released or whatever, so good things are happening, you know what I'm saying? Like, it begs the question, is it okay to feel good? You know, is it okay to be like, he did a good job? Or that's what you should do as a president? I mean, like, if we want Trump, God forbid. Because I'm at the point, now I'll be honest with you, I'm not pro-Trump, but I'm at the point, I don't think that this guy's going to get convicted of anything. If anybody's waiting for Robert Mueller to suddenly, like, jump out of a Jack in the Box and go, like, I got you!
Well,
I don't think this shit is gonna happen.
It still has to go through Congress, so I don't see the majority of GOP just because of whatever findings come out of this investigation being like, oh, okay, now we're going to go ahead and agree that this guy has some criminal activity.
The Republican committee already said that they found no collusion. So I mean, and even if we elect. You know, even if we have a blue wave and we elect our Democrats and we impeach Trump or whatever, we got Vice President Darth Pence. I mean, who the fuck wants that shit? I'm actually of the mind now, keep Trump in office, elect have a blue wave, have a Democratic Congress, a Democratic Senate, and fucking beat this guy up for the next 3 years, 2 years, whatever. This is what would be much more entertaining to me.
I think if there's a blue wave, it has to be more strategic than just impeaching Trump. You've got to lay the groundwork so that we can elect a Democratic president, and then lay the groundwork so that there can be effective policy change that do all the shit that people fucking want.
Yeah.
Like jobs and all the, bring back down the deficit and all the shit that supposedly Trump said he was going to do, or Obama was trying to do, or whoever.
Which are actually all these abstract things, which I guess they kind of matter, but I think actual people are more concerned with the two things that don't seem to be changing, which are wage. Unemployment is low. Everyone's got a job, but everyone's job is shit. Everyone's delivering for Amazon or driving Lyft or driving. You know what I mean? Everybody's job is shit right now, and nobody's making any money doing the job they're doing. Everybody's got, I'm
they're barely paying the bills.
Barely paying the bills of these jobs, and also the rent is too goddamn high, and there's nowhere to live. The real things happening in our lives are there's not enough money and there's nowhere to live. You know what I mean? And I don't.
So do you think that one of the number one issues needs to be raising the minimum wage across raising the federal minimum wage?
I don't know. I don't know if that's what lifts the boat. I honestly don't know if that lifts the boat, or whether it's policies that are basically the opposite of what we just did. Basically, we just cut the corporate tax rate. So the idea was that corporations would then invest more in more factories, expand their businesses, and then people would have more jobs. And because there was more jobs and more demand for jobs, that would raise the.
But haven't we seen that not work?
Well, we're seeing it not work right goddamn now.
But we saw it work before.
Because instead what corporations are doing with this money flush with cash is that they're buying back stock to increase the value of their own stock, or they're just paying off debts and shit. I mean, it's just it's the problem is always greed. And we can't seem to learn the lesson. We can't seem to learn the goddamn lesson that people left to their own devices are going to look out for number one. And the smarter those people are, the more in need of observation and scrutiny they are. That's the thing we get fucking totally backwards, is we go over police the poor people, and then we let the smart people get away with any goddamn thing they want to do. White collar crime, they're getting 6 months, a year in a tennis court. And then if you're poor and you're on the streets and you're caught surviving, doing whatever you can do in order to make ends meet, then you got to go to fucking do hard time, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, this kind of time, Anyway, it's the whole culture of cancellation that is just so resonant in so many different aspects. Here's something I thought was amazing, just to show you how far this fucking reality warp between perception and reality and whatever we're all working with, you know what I mean? Because you can't part of having a democracy is having a consensus on what is really happening that we can vote on. I can't vote on apples and you vote on oranges. We got to vote on the same shit. You know what I mean? We got to vote in the same units of reality. So right now, most Republicans now think Trump is being framed by the FBI. 61%. 61% think he's being framed. Do you remember when the FBI was only after commies and civil rights leaders? Do you remember the good old days?
I don't. I wasn't alive, but
I wasn't.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because I've heard things like the Mueller investigation is going on too long, but it's the whole Hillary Benghazi thing went on for over a year. So I really don't understand.
How long did the Clinton thing on? It seemed like that shit went on all through high school. Thing? Well, original Clinton scandal with Monica Lewinsky. I felt like that shit went on for 3 years. I felt like that was
yeah, it's just really weird. Can we just get the result? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to really talk about it.
It's almost like we already know the answer.
We're not all agreeing on what is real.
That's what I'm saying. The problem is we all have the facts. About? It's like the fact. It's like we all know they colluded. But now, by this point, they're like, yeah. So what the fuck they colluded? That shit ain't no.
I know you follow the money, and it's gonna all come out. Some shit went down, but again, because the people or the groundswell is not there to say that moral digression is no, we're not all in agreement that we have to, our leaders should be moral beings,
right?
or our artists should act within these moral parameters.
Exactly.
Like, where there's no consensus on that. So at the end of the day, we have people still wanting to support R. Kelly. We have people still supporting Bill Cosby or Woody Allen or whoever. And now we're going to have people who are still going to support Trump.
There's a lot more going on in the world, guys, but I can't cover all of it. Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Should we just finish with Childish Gambino?
I want to talk about that, but I just got to say this one last thing. In the news that just fucking was crazy. So, Kansas just made it illegal for police to have sex with detainees. All right?
It wasn't illegal before.
Jesus Christ. This was the thing. Okay, this blew my mind. You mean a couple months ago, it was legal for police? And here's the thing. Here's the thing, y'all. It's only illegal in some states. Oddly, Kansas was one of 33 states where consensual sex was still legal. And since they're not out of it, that means there must still be 32 others.
Wait, how can
that's a majority of
consensual
states
between a police officer and a detainee?
Apparently, all she has to say is she wants it, or he wants it, or whatever the fuck, and the police can have sex with that person. Now tell me that there's no room for abuse in that scenario? Oh my God!
Again,
states, that's the majority of states.
We're back to it.
What's up with the police, man?
There is no moral foundation.
Oh my God. This is too much power, man. Too much power that we invested in human beings.
Crazy.
That's out of control. Anyways, I had to bring that shit up because that's just out of control. Oh yeah. All right, so let's talk about Gambino.
This is America. Childish Gambino released a video, a new song that shines a light on how America is perpetually distracted. I thought that was one thing I got. So we're looking at people dancing and black people dancing and singing, and it's an easy distraction from the violence that is being perpetuated against black bodies. Some people think he's a genius. Some people don't want to see violence against black people in your art. Some people think it's invalid because he has procreated life with a white woman. He has problematic tweets in the past. I mean, you know.
Yeah,
I've only seen it twice. I felt like, I don't know, it wasn't something that I wanted to watch over and over. I did think that it was very, what's the word? Not intense, but very thoughtful and, exacting in its message, and I thought in that way it was very well done, and I thought it made its point, and I would hope that it would make people kind of re-examine some of the times when they are so concerned with the Azaelia Cardi B beef or the Met Gala or whatever. What is all of this entertainment distracting us from? What are the real issues? But then at the same time, I think I mean, there are people too. It's like, I am never going to be the person that is like, black people don't dance because people are getting killed. Like, we can't deal in killing all the fucking time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was a weird juxtaposition because, yes, you can be distracted from things that matter, but at the same time, sometimes we desperately need a distraction or we will fucking jump off the building.
Agree.
Am I crazy in this?
No, you're not alone.
You know, I mean, we see time and time again, activists are dying. You know, those who are really putting themselves on the line day after day are worse off than those of us who are distracted or engaging in the distraction. So, you know, is it about a particular limit? Who decides what's the limit? Who can decide what's too much? How much do you have to engage? Why aren't you seeing the slave movie? Why are you just seeing Tyler Perry? You know, it's a lot.
Why are you seeing Tyler Perry? I'm joking. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Hey.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, but you did see Acrimony, y'all, and y'all agree with me that was a terrible movie. I haven't even seen the movie, but so many people saw the movie and told me it was terrible that I believe
after the one where the woman has an affair and then gets HIV, like that's her punishment. I was like,
yeah,
I'm not watching it.
I'm not a Tyler Perry hater. I like when he sticks to Medea and the funny stuff. I'm just saying, I don't go to Tyler Perry thinking of like my intense dramas, my intense character introspection and that kind of shit.
I just think for me, and I don't watch a lot of it, but it just seems so it is more of a caricature type presentation of Black life as opposed to nuanced, and so it just does not resonate with me. I don't really know people that are that one-dimensional.
Yeah.
So, and because he is such a large platform, again, it is but I do see how things are changing where there are more nuanced portrayals of Black people and people of color and women. So should there also be room for stereotypes as well? Like, I don't know. It's so confusing.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do we tell the children?
I love Donald Glover's Childish Gambino's video. I watch it over and over again. I like every aspect of it. Everything speaks to me. I feel like there's the specificity of the homages are really, they're just like, it's like watching a delirious fever dream. Like, and from the beginning of it, from the minstrel stance where he shoots the blindfolded singer. It's like, what the fuck is the blinded singer? Is he Trayvon Martin's father?
To me, that looks like a Guantanamo detainee.
Is it a Guantanamo detainee? Exactly. All these resonances are whiffing off of it though. Like there's enough like Hero, the director, the guy who's also highly involved and directed a lot of the Atlanta episodes. You can just see that there's just a craftsmanship in terms of how everything. Good. They're just so fucking good, man. And then
he's good.
The minstrel stance he takes, and then the kinetic, just the movement of his body. Like I didn't expect him to have that much command over like just the sheer and you know what I'm saying, and all he coming out in his dad body. He's not like cut or like six pack anything. He's like I'm just, but he's beautiful.
I just think that Donald is
dope.
like the peak of his artistic expression right now. With Atlanta, with the Solo movie, he's playing, what's his name? Lando Calrissian. This video, the music, so I see that. I just see like maximum artistry in everything that he's doing and craftsmanship. And it's very much a perspective in his voice, and he has amazing collaborators. Yeah. I mean, that last episode of Atlanta.
Oh my God!
Whoa!
Let's talk about that. The transformation of Earn from earnest nerd from the earnest nerd into vicious savage. I mean, the episode before where he challenges dude, he's like, pull this car over so I can fight this motherfucker.
Well, also, I mean, I love the episode before when they showed him as a child potentially wearing a knockoff FUBU shirt to school. And basically, to avoid getting beat up, his cousin kind of vouches for him. And they convince the bullies or whatever that the other kid has the fake FUBU. Yeah. That child then, in turn, commits suicide.
Kills himself. Oh my God! I mean,
and so he
kills himself
to give adult Earn the context of that, where he's always striving but he never makes it, and his older cousin Al is always the one saving him, and then juxtapose that with the current situation where, and Al says it, he's like, you're my family, you're the only one who knows me, who's really looking out for me. But, Earn is, you realize no matter how earnest he is, he never quite...
Well, at the end, though, I felt like it was transformed. I felt like his perspective is transformed because essentially, like that Chekhov's gun, and I'm borrowing that term from somewhere I read, but like in the beginning, he gives... Uncle gives him that gun, and he's like, "You're gonna need this in the record business." That gun is the Chekhov's gun. That shit is gonna have an effect somewhere in the chain in the thing. So Luke,
as soon as he put it in his backpack, and then everybody said that, I was like, he didn't take the gun out.
And Lucas has been his adversary this whole time, whatever, right? So he puts it in his pack. That his cousin seeing Earn commit that act of savagery is what makes him go like, all right, now I know that you can be in this business. Now I know that you can be my manager. I think that's what he was saying. It was like, I got to keep you in my life but before that moment, I think up until that point, he was like, Now we'll talk when we land.
But I think a little bit, though, is at the time they both thought that it was going to take the artist out because he put it in the artist's bag.
They did, but it still serves earn purposes either way because
right,
Luke was his competition.
But does it really serve Al to have that other, his rival, still there?
Not as much.
Without the manager.
But not as much. But see, now they set it up. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but
I'm sure they got picked up again.
Now Earn can maybe poach Homeboy because Luke is in jail. You know what I'm saying? Because he can't make these moves. I don't know what's going to happen, but all I'm saying is that I think the journey in this particular one for both of them, for Al, it was going from being I want to stay real to embracing the facade, and for Earn, it was from going from this innocence that he felt like he could hold on to and still do it his way, to realizing he was going to have to learn to do it another way.
Right. I think that was very telling when he went to the passport place to get Darius's passport last minute, and the guy at the counter was Jewish. The whole thing was basically filled with Jewish people, and he asked the guy who says he knows an entertainment lawyer, and he says, "Is there a black lawyer as good as your cousin?" And what I love too, what was so beautiful about the nuance of that scene was they're acting like it's a private conversation, but as soon as he asked that, they cut to the other Jewish people waiting, and they look up because they're interested in the answer. And the guy says, "Yeah, I'm sure there are, but part of being good at your job is having connections, and the black people don't have as many connections as my cousin."
Real
for
talk.
Systemic reasons.
For systemic reasons.
So I just think also part of the beauty of Atlanta is just always pushing the conversation and presenting the contradictions and complexities of each person's life.
Well said.
Also, I just want to tell this story because I thought it was hilarious. So the episode where young Earn has a fake FUBU and he's getting roasted reminded me... And I didn't get to read the article, but there was the one where it talks about like basically pressures as a black child that can be boiled down into instances like this, like of clothing and quote unquote status and coolness and acceptance. So this is about maybe 5th grade, and I went to a very small private church school, and for whatever reason, it must have been like Black History Month or Black History Week, and all the black people, which was like all 10 of us basically, were like, okay, you need to wear, tomorrow we're all going to wear a Malcolm X shirt. This is in the 90s when everyone had like a big X on your shirt. I think Malcolm X had just come out.
That's very important.
You could also wear a shirt with a picture of Martin Luther King Jr. on it. Now, I didn't have either one of those shirts, so I was stressing out. Because how was I going to prove my blackness, my loyalty to being black if I didn't have these shirts? So I decided, well, I'll just wear a black shirt. That's what I have, and that's what I can do. Well, sure enough, I mean, school hadn't been going on for 10 seconds before everyone started laughing at me and basically immediately jumped on the fact that I did not have the legit dress code, which was prescribed by the cool kids of this X shirt, Malcolm X shirt, or this Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. shirt. Similarly, how Earn did not have an official, provable FUBU shirt.
Yes.
And then what was the hilarious part about it, so because I had made this feeble attempt to still align myself with Black power and history and empowerment, they called me JFK the entire fucking day. And I was like, how are 10-year-olds so, what's the word? Like so, just like crafty with their roasting. Like I wasn't like all out racist. Like they couldn't act like I wasn't trying to be down.
Right. You weren't
like
anti-black.
JFK was the ultimate.
Perfect. That's spot on.
The most perfect example of someone who's not black. So I wasn't black enough. The black shirt was not black enough. I was black adjacent.
That's right.
And who better to be like my icon than JFK? And I had to take that shit all day. And so when I saw Earn just trying to get through the whole goddamn day and get home, like basically covering up the shirt that he thought he could wear with pride, That was me. It took me back.
That's
I
a
have
good one.
totally experienced
I have
that.
I have a shorter story, and not as good as that, but I will share it because I like that kind of story. But when I was a kid, in 5th grade. Not 5th grade. Sorry, I was 5 years old. 5 or 6 years old, and everyone was wearing Adidas. The shell toe Adidas were the shoes to have with the fat laces, if you could rock them.
Sure.
Right? Those are the thing. My mother and I went to the Kmart, and they had a big bin, a big metal bin.
This is exactly what Aaron experienced.
Big metal bin, and I thought to myself, wow, they're full of Adidas. That's amazing. That's amazing. Right? What my luck. And my mom bought me the shoes, and I was so happy and excited, and I took them home, and I put them on, and I was so proud to walk to the bus stop with my new Adidas. And everybody took one look, and they looked at me, and they were like, man, dip some butter cookies.
What?
Now, what the fuck a butter cookie was, I had no idea.
What is a butter
Oh
cookie?
my god, what does it mean?
It was one of those ingenious things that kids come up
Kids
with
are ingenious.
that they could just figure, that they knew instantly. And what it
They're
meant
so
was
clever.
it meant a knockoff.
Yeah.
But it meant a knockoff in such a way. It meant a knockoff in such a way that it wasn't even close. like that didn't even. That don't even look. That's like a Gochi. That ain't even close. That's some.
But I think, the fact that so many of us, and I know we're not the only two, have this story.
No,
What I
think-
mean? And
I
it's
think
like, we don't really
yes.
talk about how that...
The trauma.
Right. That is traumatic because all you want as a child is to be included. So in any way, shape, or form, when there is some outside entity, like I think particularly in my case as well, and in those two where it's more like almost like class and status. But with me, it was so arbitrary. It wasn't like a brand that I could go out and get. It was just like, I didn't fucking buy a Malcolm X shirt. And they don't care that my parents are from Jamaica. So Malcolm X is not a particularly... icon. Like if I go to my grandma's house, there is not a picture of MLK Jr.
Right.
and
Those are
Malcolm X
distinctly
on the
those are
walls.
distinctly
We're gonna
North
have
American
like
heroes.
Paul Bogle and
Right.
Norman Manley
Right.
and Bustamante, and Nanny of the Maroons. We're gonna have like
Totally.
Jamaican icons of empowerment and resistance and freedom.
Totally.
So there was no reason for me to have that or to be able to even explain to my mom why this was necessary. And so, for them to in any way say, "Oh, well, you're not black enough. You can't support Black American culture," was like devastating.
The thing is,
and I think the same way you're saying,
Yes.
or what they exemplified in the episode, it was like this whole idea that because you don't have a certain amount of money, I mean, people will skip school for that.
But also what the episode pointed to, and what was also true, is that the other acceptable form of status was if you could snap back. I was going to just say roasting. Bam, like Tasha said.
Right.
The other acceptable currency was if I would have had some cheap shoes and I would have looked silly, and they would have snapped on me. If I was intelligent and had the presence of mind to snap back on them,
Right.
then I could have got my status back. But the
Right.
fact that I got
Exactly.
stolen on and mentally stunned was why that they felt
Same
like
for
was
me.
why you
What
was
was I supposed to
ridiculed.
say to
Well, you know,
JFK?
the
Like
truth
I
is-
didn't know. I was stumped. I was like, well.
The
Because
truth
I
is,
did, if anything, and that's the thing too. What's so difficult as a child is like I didn't wear that Jamaican icon shirt, and then school motherfuckers.
I think also
You know what I mean, though?
I think also I think it's fair to say that as long as I've been married to you, we're also very sensitive people, and I think that sensitive
I
people
think children are sensitive.
No.
people as well.
I think some children are very insensitive. I've met some very insensitive children. I think that there are people who are tuned a specific way all throughout every culture and every race, and in a black experience in particular, being that particular tuning is dangerous. Like being empathic, because my thing was like I just always wanted to get along with people. I actually didn't give a fuck what the clothes look like. I didn't even, to this day I have to really think about clothes in order for me to get excited about them. Otherwise I would just wear the same shit every day.
I only wanted to have certain things to be included.
I just wanted to be included because I just wanted to share in whatever the life of what was going on, like the jokes and the fun and the laughter seemed like something I wanted to be part of. But then when I realized, oh, being a part of that means I got to leave a whole lot of whatever else I consider to be myself. I started to realize that the only way not to be called Butter Cookies was to go completely.
That's a funny name.
Was completely to go the other way.
So is JFK. It's really funny.
But was to lean into it and was like, and that's why I kind of relate to a Donald Glover when he talks about like black, the black girls didn't like me or whatever. Because honestly, I mean, I won't say black girls didn't like me, but I will say that only weird black girls liked me. You know what I'm saying? And it was very difficult to find those weird black girls. They were less available than any other type of girl. And I've never been with any other type of girl than a black woman for some reason. That's
I would say also, I mean, I listen. I don't always listen to the Amanda Seales podcast, Small Doses, but I caught this most recent one because it was the side effects of being West Indian, and for those 30 minutes, I felt so seen and part of a community because they really, and her guest was, I forget her name, but she's Beyonce's publicist, and she's born and raised in Grenada till 14 and then came to America. Amanda was born here, but is raised by a Grenadian mom and has gone back to the country many times. And so they really nail how and I think it's also if your parents are Latinx immigrants, you end up being that bridge to American culture, and you're straddling two cultures in a way that can be confusing for people. And I think it's particularly confusing for black people because we don't necessarily have another language. It's just a completely different culture in our home. And so my mom learned a lot of American things through me. I mean, literally now she does yoga. That is, I mean, I take full credit for that. And I'm almost, and I'm up in age. So that's part of it too, where there is enough difference that kids will pounce on. Yeah. Whether it's culturally or class and I think that is just some children. I think while some are insensitive, I think all kids are sensitive personally. Like I think no matter what the kid says outwardly, there is something that you can say to them that will hurt them.
Absolutely.
I think in that way, all kids are sensitive.
We're all vulnerable in that way.
So anyway, I really love that episode, and if you're West Indian, check out the Amanda Seales podcast because you'll laugh your ass off.
Speaking of podcasts, you should check out my podcast. We Come From Bad News with Al Diddy and me and Yaze. Also check out Pancakes and Milk, who gave us a repost on SoundCloud. Thank you. Ebonics, who we love. Thank you so much. Two Awkward Millennials and Two Squares podcast. We appreciate you so much. Yay, guys. It's super late. It's 1:30.
It's super late.
It's deep into Mother's Day already. And happy Mother's Day, Mel.
Happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes. And here for the mothers and the mothering and the mothering.
Yes. And we appreciate you and everything you do, and keep on doing it. We hope
why, thank you.
Yeah, we do. Until next time,
check out our Facebook page.
Yes, check us out on Twitter
and Instagram. All those places.
Things. Check us out, guys. Leave us a comment.
Yes, on what is it? Apple.
We're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify now.
We're everywhere, guys.
SoundCloud,
just look us up.
All the podcast things.
Yeah, recommend us to somebody.
There. Share us as you guys do so often. Thank you for always continuing to come back and listen.
We definitely appreciate that.
To us rant and ramble.
Yeah. So.
That's
it. That's all I got.
We'll keep talking about more things. I guess.
All right. Until next time. Stay woke.
Peace.
Peace.